Hi Modern Miss Huxtables! Hope all is well. I'm coming to you in this video to give you the 5th installment of the Dear Sister Project College Edition, which was in tribute to Michael Brown. After I get done uploading this, I will upload one more video where you'll be able to I'll just thank you for watching the videos, thank you for participating, and you'll be able to leave your email below to enter into the book scholarship for the spring semester. So I should have these up hopefully as quickly as possible. But in this video, it was kind of the people's choice, and most people commented that they wanted to hear about financial planning. So that's what we're going to discuss in this video. So what I have basically developed is a Big 8 financial plan for college. So a little bit more about me and finances in undergrad at least. I received a legacy scholarship to go to Howard, which was a tuition and fees scholarship. As long as I maintained, I think, a 3.5 GPA. I got that scholarship for 4 years. So my tuition was paid for. That being said, I took out a student loan one time for like the meal plan, because we had to have a meal plan in certain dorms and a room and board, but my tuition was paid for. So that really affected how I looked at finances a lot, mostly because I didn't get student loan checks every semester like a lot of my peers did who were financing their education through loans. So a lot of them would get, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 or more dollars per semester in a refund check, which then they could use as spending money for food, for spring break trips, for getting books, for other things that I didn't have access to unless I worked. So all 4 years of undergrad, I worked. My parents didn't want me to work. After my first semester, my freshman year, I realized I don't have any spending money to eat out or eat things that aren't served in the cafeteria or just do anything. And I was in DC, which is very expensive compared to St. Louis where I grew up. So I realized I needed to make money. So I started working as a retail associate in the Pentagon City Mall in Armani Exchange, and I was able to get a pretty good commission check in addition to hourly wage, minimum wage per hour. So I was really frugal with my money. I never went on a spring break trip with my friends to Cancun or Miami or any of those things. When we'd go to restaurants, I'd always get the cheapest thing on the menu. My friends would always be like, Allison's bill is going to be the smallest, because I would get the cheapest thing that they had. I didn't have a car in undergrad. I always took the metro in DC. I'm trying to think what else. I lived on campus all 4 years, so I don't know, I was pretty frugal, to say the least. And also just a word of encouragement, when I went to Howard, Howard is a very big fashion school. People dress really well, they're very fashion savvy and fashion conscious. And I had gone to Catholic schools my whole life until I got there, so we had uniform. So college was the first time I went to a school where you could wear what you want, basically. So I didn't have a large wardrobe left from high school where every year my parents were taking me back to school shopping and I had cool clothes or just, regular clothes. I would get new polo shirts from Walmart, boys polo shirts, or Sears or JCPenney, and wear those with my uniform skirt. So when I got to college, I didn't have a whole bunch of clothes. So now that I'm at a school where clothing is really important and who has the hottest labels and the latest trends, I get made fun of so bad. So I went through the high school experience probably in college, and also my high school was an all-girls school, so I wasn't used to guys being there, and we wore a uniform. So just to let the ladies know out there, and guys too, I can relate if you don't have the latest clothes, or you're just look, I'm here on a wish and a prayer and a thread. I barely paid my tuition. I'm just here to learn, to try to excel, to do what I can. I'm away from home. I don't have all these clothes and shoes. I know that's different at different schools. When I taught at Temple, students come in pajama pants and flip-flops and cargo shorts in January. So different schools have different cultures and vibes, but I just thought I'd put that out there for other people that may be having that experience. So my Big 8 financial plan, the number one thing is to live within your means. And people always say this, and it's a mindset and a mentality and a habit to get into that will last you long outside of college. But it is important to live within your means. You know, if you have $5 coming in, but you're always spending $10 before, you know, you're always in the hole -5. You can't spend more or, you know, constantly be putting things on a credit card or constantly getting things when you know that your income is way below that. There has to be a point where these two catch up or meet so you can get your, you know, credit or debt balance to 0. So it's just important to try to budget and try to understand, even if my income were to increase, that I'm not going to then rack my expenses up, you know, at a ratio of, you know, ×5 to the point that I'm always in the hole. No matter how much money I make or if I get a raise or if I get another part-time job, I'm somehow always in the negative. And if you're not investing in things for yourself that are going to lead to an increased income, then you're definitely always going to be in the hole. So if you're not looking for, you know, part-time work, or you're not investing in some type of entrepreneurial endeavor or something that's going to bring in an additional income, then you're always going to be kind of a slave to whatever the income of your full-time job is. And that's not a problem. It's a problem when you don't live within the means of that. And I'll talk a little bit more about that with some of the other steps. So, you know, live within your means, be realistic. For me, that meant getting teased my freshman year of college. For me, that meant, you know, when we would go out, I had to get the cheapest thing on the menu. That was my reality. So whether people made comments or teased me or made fun of me, at the end of the day, I didn't have nearly as many student loans as they did. So in the moment, in the restaurant, you might feel like, dang, you know, everybody's making fun of me, or they're joning on me, or I don't have new tennis shoes or new shoes or heels or whatever. But in the long term, you'll be set. And it's really you having to dig deep inside and say, look, I'm making certain financial plans for me, and I don't care what people say. And unfortunately, the world in which we live in terms of social media and reality TV, you watch these shows, Real Housewives, or I don't know, Basketball Wives, or whatever wives, and you see people with nice handbags, with nice clothes, with nice extensions or weaves, etc., and you want all of those things, but probably those people aren't living in their means either. So you just have to be realistic about what works for you, and nobody knows your financial plan or your finances for the most part but you. So live within your means and be confident. Can't say that enough. Huge. Number 2 is trying to pay cash. So when I was at Howard, I didn't have a car, so I was always on public transportation, a lot of times all hours of the night and day in areas that weren't safe. So I hesitated from paying cash. I just had a debit card. I tried not to carry cash in case I was robbed, but not to scare people or anything, but that's just the reality. So I recommend, like, if you're going to the grocery store, if you're going to the mall and you know you're looking for a new top or some jeans or something, carry cash, because you know if you take out $100 cash and you're saying, look, that's my max for the day, you won't be tempted or won't be able to end up spending more than that. And sometimes when you have either a credit card or a debit card, it's easy to just swipe and you have no consciousness of how much you just spent. Like, you just swipe. You know, I went into the mall looking to only spend $75, and I just spent $275 with one swipe of my card. I do think as a society we're moving farther and far away from cash, appreciating, you know, the paper concept of I just gave, you know, this amount of something. You just swipe your card and, you know, it just gets deducted from your account, but you don't have, and even worse on a credit card, it's like that money I don't even have. So it's just money that's, you know, I don't even maybe have or will have. So try to carry cash, or try to really stick to a budget. When you go places, when you go to the grocery store, they always say don't go to the grocery store hungry, because you'll end up just, ooh, this looks good, this looks good, this looks good, and you'll spend way more than you had originally intended for no reason. So try to pay cash, or try to get limits on how much you intend to spend in outings or at certain places. So number 3 is no credit card. And I did not have a credit card until maybe my junior year of grad school. I think now the credit card companies, the rules are a lot more strict. I believe also you have to maybe even be 21 to get a credit card. But when I was in college, credit card companies would set up shop on the campus and be giving out credit cards to students, with students not aware or conscious of what that even meant. And I think after that, you know, they've been more extremely strict, because I remember maybe my senior year at Howard, I tried to get a credit card from Bank of America, who I've been banking with for a long time, and they kept denying me for lack of credit history and low age. So they're a lot more strict about that. But I would encourage students in college to read and investigate, even if you don't have a credit card, to read and understand, what does a credit card mean? What do these different, little caveats to the wording in small print, what does that mean? Or when they send me all these credit card advertisements or announcements, what does all this lingo mean? Because a lot of times you will at some point be eligible to get a credit card and you'll have no idea what that even means or how it works. I used to have students when I would teach at Temple. I remember one of my students, we did like a little financial planning session in my office. I was teaching English literature. This had nothing to do with what I was teaching, but I thought it was important that if a student was interested or wanted to know, that they understand what that means. And he was an older student that was returning back to school. So he was in his late 20s and was working while going back to school and had gone to community college. So he was at a different place in his life than kind of the typical straight out of high school student. And we went over, like, what does this mean? What does this credit card application mean? What do these terms mean? And it's important to have someone in your life, whether it be, sometimes it can't even be your parents, because they're not the best money management people. So wherever it is that you can find a financial mentor, and be careful, but somebody that can help you just in a general way, or a bank, somebody at a bank that you trust or that you have a relationship with, or that you've had a checking account with for a while, to explain to you what these things mean. And in his case, I recommend not getting a credit card in undergrad, because the concept of credit is important, because banks want to know, if I give you money for something that you can't afford, something large, let's say a car or a house, I want to know that your character and that your mindset, that you're responsible enough to pay it back in increments. So you don't have enough money right now to pay for this large item, but I'm going to pay for it for you, and you're going to pay for it in little increments with interest. So you're going to end up paying more, but you're going to pay it back in small amounts. And I need to be able to trust that you're going to do that every time, that you're not going to relapse or not pay at all, or then I'm in the hole, and then you'll be penalized. But it's making sure that you're able to pay things back that you can't afford in a timely manner, and in the manner that you originally agreed to. And so that's cool for a car, or that's cool for a house, or things that you can't pay cash for, which if you can pay cash for a used car, I recommend over credit. But once again, that's what it's showing. So I don't recommend getting a credit card in undergrad where you don't have, a full-time job or some type of salary, and you're tempted to load up clothes or trips or food or, all this stuff on the card, and then you don't have any income coming in. And then it's getting interest on it for no reason. So I really don't recommend getting a credit card in undergrad. Maybe some people would disagree. At some point, I do think, you need to build your credit, or, have a good credit score, so demonstrate that you can be capable of having a credit card. But I don't really think undergrad is the time to do that. And if you are going to get a credit card, I'll just briefly say, and maybe I'll make another video, I suggest getting one that has 0% APR, which means there's a lot of credit cards that for an introductory period, so maybe 12 months or 13 months, will not charge you interest on your purchases. So let's say you can buy a shirt for $30 and you can have 12 months to pay it off without having any interest accrue. So the same price that you paid in January is what you'll pay for it next January if you pay it off in time. And that's what I totally recommend. It's not worth buying something and then paying more than what it was worth if you just paid cash. So get a 0% interest card, which will only be for a certain period, 0% interest. And if you miss a payment, they'll typically start charging you interest. And when you first get your credit card, your interest rate is going to be really high. So that's my first tip on that. And get a card that doesn't have an annual fee. So one where you don't have to pay $35 a month or $50 a month just to have the card. That's not really necessary either. And one more tip for the credit card, I guess, anytime you put something on your credit card, try to really think about why I need this. Like sometimes I've heard people that are in graphic design school or something, they really want a Mac computer, and that's really going to help them do freelance work and get through their degree and prepare them for their career and maybe some side money. So they'll get a 0% interest card for a year. and put their Mac computer on it. Well, that's fine, because let's say the Mac computer is $1,700 and you don't have that in cash, but you know that if you break that up into payments over 12 months, you'll be able to pay it off. That makes sense to me. But, you know, just putting, or, you know, you say, I want a credit card to start building credit, so all you do is put gas in it every month and that's it, and you pay it off right away. That's fine, but, you know, loading up a credit card and maxing it out and you have no income coming in or no concept of when you're getting a job or how you're going to pay this off, not a good idea. And bad credit is not a good look. So number 4, have a hustle. This is huge. I believe in any time I've had a full-time job, I always have a side hustle, a legal hustle, but a side hustle. When I was in college, there was one girl in our dorm who lived on the floor above me, and I don't know if her parents just sent her those big packs of little chips or she would get them or whatever, but she always had a whole bunch of little packs of chips and candies that she would put under her dorm bunk bed, and we would call her like the snack lady. And everybody would go up there when you'd be tired or hungry or studying. You'd go to her room, and for 75 cents you would get like a bag of chips, some peanut M&Ms or whatever, and go back to your room. And there wasn't, I don't think, a vending machine in our building, and there wasn't a lot of snack places or places that would be open at midnight where you could safely go get a bag of chips or something. And I remember always thinking, that is an entrepreneur. This girl is genius and she is racking up. And I just remember thinking like, that's what's up. And then one time I would always do like these intense makeup looks and stuff, and she asked me, she was like, you know, if I'll pay you $20 if you'll do my makeup for this dance. And so I did her makeup, and then, you know, she was giving me chips, and it was just like, even if it's something as small as selling bags of chips or snacks, I believe you should always have some type of hustle, some type of skill or something that you're good at that people would be willing to pay for. Whether it's doing hair, whether it's, we had girls in our dorms that did cornrow braids, sew-in weaves, glue-in weaves, eyebrow arching, makeup, selling snacks. It's just, you should always have something that you can do or offer. If times get rough, you can do that service and get a little cash to make it through. And whether it's styling, cleaning, you know, I don't care. Just always have something that you can do to get by if it comes to that. And it's just, you never know even how that may transform into something that's a lot more lucrative, or a lot, it might even be your career someday. Like, never shy away from having an entrepreneurial mindset. And I think sometimes being a hustler or something gets negative connotations, but I think it's important to know, like, I have these kind of original or creative skills, or not. I mean, maybe it's just changing a tire, changing oil, or, you know, washing cars, walking dogs, whatever it is. Just have something that you can do as a hustle that will bring in additional income. So that's number 4. Oh, I was also going to say, for that, even like photography, there's so many students now, or young people that are doing fashion blogs, that are doing, I mean, you could just do all types of stuff. Just have a hustle. So number 5 are, stay away from things that are money drains. So trendy clothes. For example, like when I was in high school, FUBU was really, really popular, and I always wanted FUBU jerseys. They were expensive at the time. Well, now, fast forward to 2014, you wouldn't be, the FUBU's not cool. You wouldn't be caught dead wearing that. When I was in college, like Rockin' Republic jeans were super, super popular. $200, you know, $180 a pair. The company got bought out. Now they sell them at Kohl's for I don't even know how much. So it's like, trendy clothes, they're going to go out of style. They're not going to be popular after you graduate. You can't wear them to a business interview or in the workplace. So try to come up with your own original style, or just not be so seduced with everything has to be name brand or everything has to be on point with the trends, because chances are by the time you graduate, it's not going to be cool anymore at all. So wasting money on clothes is just not worth it. Wasting money on alcohol. Alcohol is the biggest waste of money, especially once you turn 21 and you're able to drink in a club or at a lounge or something. Paying $10, $11 for an alcoholic beverage, no nutritional value, basically poison for your body. And I mean, it's like, I'm not encouraging drinking or partaking in liquor. I actually don't like alcohol really at all. If I never had to have a drink again, I'd be perfectly fine with that. But I just watched so many people in college we'd be out at a bar and their tab would come in $80 worth of liquor they've spent, or, you know, $90 worth of liquor, and then you could have bought groceries all week with that money. You just wait. I mean, if you are that into vodka, or you're that into, I mean, get a bottle at the grocery store and, you know, have a little nightcap. Liquor is the biggest waste of money to me. And the fact that clubs and places can charge that much for liquor, they inflate the price of it like by 200% and people still buy it. It really, I don't get it, but to each their own. I mean, people would be at Applebee's with a $60 liquor tab. You could have had two, you know, what, two for 20s. Like, what are you, that's me. And I know I'm not, that's probably not cool or whatever, but liquor is a waste of money. What else I have? Also, like eating out all the time rather than cooking or meal planning is a big waste of money too. It can go so much further if you just grocery shop. So just looking out for things that are just, to me, money down the hole. What else was I gonna say? Oh, and then also for textbooks, I know there's a lot more options now, like downloading textbooks online. I recommend always buying your textbooks used. I mean, textbooks, that's another industry where they just would take complete advantage of students. I mean, you'd buy the book at the beginning of the semester and then they would have released a new edition by the end of the semester, so they won't buy your book back. So I just paid, you know, and I think things like that have improved. I think there's more used book options now. Now you can go on eBay or online or wherever and buy books used. So just trying to get your books at the cheapest price and being able to sell it back or return it or sell it to a peer to get the money back, recoup, because books are such, that's also almost a money drain, honestly. Number 6 is don't blow loan money. If you are getting back a refund check or you're getting back money, by that what I'm saying is loan money, that is the difference, you're getting that back every semester. Try to save it, try to invest it. Try to invest in memories. Like if your school has a study abroad program where you're able to go, like Howard I think has one in China. I know people that went to West Africa, like, or if you're able to in the summer go to Bolivia, go to Spain, go to, you know, do things that are going to culturally expand your horizons, make you a more global citizen, make you more aware, and that are going to really diversify who you are as a human being. Like, you'll never get a time in your life again where you have summers off and a month for Christmas. You know, when you enter the workforce, you're working every day, you know, Monday through Friday, all year round, unless you take off. So take advantage of having that period in your life to really grow and expand and push yourself. Travel, you know, go to Russia, go to, you know, wherever, just expand your horizon. Go to Egypt, try things, try new cultures, try to be in new places, go to Brazil for 2 months. Like, just try to learn a language, or spend a summer being immersed in a culture where you walk away with a language, or you walk away with you know, some bilingual skills. Those are things that will really set you apart and get you far in the workforce. Okay, so number 7 in the big 8 is research your major. Whenever I would teach undergrads, I would always have them answer the question, you know, what is your purpose for being in college? Why are you here? And amazingly, like 75% would be like, I'm in college to get rich or to make more money. And I would always say, okay, so what's your major? And some were undecided. Some would say, you know, nursing or engineering or history. And I'd always say, you know, have you researched the median income for your major? And what I mean by that is, have you investigated what jobs will you be eligible for with that major? What is the median, or what's the average salary for people with that major? And the reason why I say that is because a lot of times we have an expectation that I'm going to get this degree in history and then somehow I'm going to get out of college and be making a six-figure salary just because I have a college degree. And that couldn't be farther from the truth. You know, a lot of students don't take the time to investigate, and I really think it's horrible that schools don't do a better job of saying, you know, have you done an investigation of what jobs you'll be eligible for? So let's say, okay, you get a degree in history. So you're eligible to maybe be a history teacher. Maybe you have to sit for exams or be certified through education to be able to even teach history. Or maybe you have, and then if you're going to be a history teacher, well, maybe the annual salary for that is only $30,000. So you have this dream that you're going to graduate with your degree and be making $85,000 a year, and that's not realistic. So I do believe there's a lot of debates that go into choosing your major, and should you choose a major you're passionate about, or the one that's going to make you money, or the one that, and I can make a separate video about that, but I just don't think that there's enough time or enough investment in students, especially when we're asking them to pay so much money and give so much of their time and energy and mental space to college. We kind of do them a disservice by not allowing them to really think through the major choice that they're picking. And I think also for that's the next one, but I just encourage people to think about what, like, for example, I once read an article about a student. She got a degree in theater, and she had chosen, I can't remember if she went to an Ivy League school, or it might not have been an Ivy League school, but it was a more expensive school. Rather than go the state school route, or a community college and then transfer to a more affordable school, she chose a very expensive school. So she ended up with some astronomical amount of student loan debt. Well, when she went out in the job market to look for theater jobs, these were jobs that were getting cut from schools because fine arts were getting cut in order to deal with budget cuts and the economy. So she ended up with like a $15,000 a year theater job part-time. She wasn't able to pay back her student loans. But people in the article were just saying, like, if you want a degree in theater, like, you have to actually think about the fact that, am I going to choose the most expensive school possible when I know that that might not be the most lucrative career? And it's not saying don't do theater or don't choose a degree in theater. It's saying assess what you plan on doing. If you don't have financial support from your parents, or you don't have a background in theater, or you haven't been, like, you have to think about, it's not like you just go to school, you get a degree, and then all these opportunities are going to fall into your lap, or the door to fortune and fame is just going to open because you completed college. You and thousands of other students just at that institution graduated with a theater degree this year. So you have to, students think I can just do the bare minimum or get C's and graduate, and then I'm somehow entitled to or do a certain type of job with a certain type of large income. And that's just not the way that it works anymore. And I remember working with students that would be really upset when they would graduate and realize, wow, I'm getting paid the same amount, or I was given the same entry-level position as somebody else that didn't even go to college. And that's a reality. Like, you really have to think it's not just enough to just go to college and major in such and such. And that brings me to my final point, point 8 in the Big 8, which is encouraging people to intern, shadow, make connections, and diversify your resume. When you're in undergrad, sometimes it's awesome to use that time to do unpaid internships, or to do internships at companies where they're looking to cultivate and build a resume, but you don't have prior work experience. Because when you graduate and you enter the workforce, people are going to say, oh, well, if you want a higher paying job, show me 3 to 5 years of manager experience. Show me 2 to 5 years of you, presiding over people and managing them in a workplace situation. Typically, you don't have that because you've been in school. But if you can say, oh, well, at my internship, I worked on group projects. At my internship with Procter & Gamble, or at my internship with Johnson & Johnson, or at my internship, if you can speak from an internship, which is a situation maybe you weren't getting paid, but you were getting work skills. You were getting, a lot of knowledge, hands-on knowledge that builds a resume. Because once again, a lot of people will graduate from college and all they will have is a degree. They won't have any workplace experience. They won't have any connections. They won't have any professional recommendations that somebody could write for them, or professional nods where somebody could say, oh, I was her supervisor for this internship. She really excelled. She stood out. They don't have any type of, that's what people are looking for a lot of times in the workforce. Going to college is great, and you do sometimes need a college degree to be eligible to apply to certain positions, but at the same time, that's not enough. You need to also be able to show how you, work with others, how you get jobs done, how you tackle tasks. If you're good at writing, if you're good at presenting, if you're good at teaching, you have to be able to show in real world circumstances how these things work. And it really blew my mind. I mean, going to an HBCU, we had a lot of corporate companies that would come and do career fairs, business fairs, because they wanted to diversify their interns, they wanted to diversify their, clientele and their staff, and how many people wouldn't even bother to go or would get an interview and wouldn't go to the interview. It's like, you need to do internships. That's just as important as your degree. They go hand in hand. You could show me a degree in history, but if you can't show me how you've applied that to the real world, then all you've told me is you know how to take tests and write papers and you know historical facts. I need somebody that can, turn in things on time, make PowerPoints, be out in the field. I need real life skill sets. And so when you're in undergrad, that's the perfect opportunity to be doing internships, especially ones that may be unpaid. But once you graduate and your student loans hit, or you're trying to, be out on your own and work, you don't want to keep working unpaid internships where you're not getting any income and you're having bills or, real life circumstances, and you just don't have any work experience. So that is really, 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 really huge. And most campuses have a, I don't know what it's called, professional office or career development, or even study abroad offices. So check out all the resources that your campus has. Final point. You pay in your tuition, or it'll be typically in your fees, money for activities, money for medical expenses, money for all of those offices on your campus, diversity, career development, the gym. You pay for it. And most students don't use it. Like, go to the gym on your school. If you're feeling sick, go to the doctor at your school. If you want to study abroad, go to the study abroad office, go to the professional development office. Like, all those offices, make it a point every semester to go to those offices, because there's so many things, so many people's salaries that you're paying with your money, so many people, pamphlets, all these things that students are not aware of and don't use, but you pay for it. So when you have those resources, please use them. If you have a career counselor, if you have a development counselor, go to all of those places and use all of those resources, because you pay for it. And never again will you be in a place where there's all these people that are hopefully invested in your development and for you to succeed. So please, 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 like, take advantage of all those resources, because I can't say enough. You pay for it. If your school gives out tickets to basketball games or football games, get the ticket and go, rather than go to the movies and pay for the movies out of your own pocket. You pay for it. I guarantee you, look on your bill. You have an activity fee, all those things you pay for. So take advantage of all those things. Try to be frugal, try to be smart, and just keep pushing. I honestly hope that everybody had a great end of the fall semester and are hopefully going home for the holidays, having time to rejuvenate and recuperate and get ready for the spring. And that concludes the college edition, but I'm sure I'll make more videos in the future. So keep a lookout on the next video I'll post for the college edition, where you'll be able to leave your email for the scholarship. So keep pushing, keep studying, keep working hard. I'll see you guys later. Bye.